on the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or got to go.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Ah.
Yo. What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. You feel me? And oh, what a show we have today, so you know what's going down. So guess what? Turn it off, turn it all the way off. Now cut. Oh my goodness, yeah. Second show of the new year. Oh, please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns. This here is Sports Plus Life, that there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary topics in sports and all of the necessary topics in life. And how is everybody doing? Well, we got the weather under control. Okay, we got the weather under control out. Last time we talked, it was snowing. Last time I did a show, it was in the midst of a snowstorm. And it's now gotten together. Weather's gotten together. Sun is out. Snow is melted. Still chilly. Feels like a winter day here in the Richmond, VA. As a matter of fact, it is about 42 degrees in the Richmond of the VA. But it is Monday, January 10th, 2000 deuce, okay? And I hope everybody had a good weekend, and I hope everybody is having a good day. And man, I'm telling you, we have got a show today in regards to Sports Plus Life, because yesterday was absolutely bonkers when we talk about the NF of the L. We got the college football national championship game tonight. And yeah. But before we do all of that stuff, you know how I do. I got to show love to my black and gold fam. Shout outs to everybody. Keep the love bombs going. Keep that same energy in the 2-2 as we had in the 2-1. And before we get to the sports part, we have a life segment, as we are going to go into another segment of Brandon's Funny True Stories. Now, let me tell you something.
Hello?
I don't know why I keep finding myself in these situations. And when I say situations, I'm not saying like a bad situation or anything like that. But throughout my life, I've been a people person. Even though sometimes I don't always trust them, I've always been a people person. And what I mean by that is, people, complete strangers, have always felt comfortable enough to come up to me and just tell me or talk to me about anything. I don't know why. It's just always been like that my entire life. I don't know whether it's my personality, or I don't know. But such is the case, and such as, again, has always been the case. And so this was this past Friday, and I posted about this on Facebook. I said, some people I can't, with a bunch of laugh out loud emojis. And I didn't specify on what it was, because I said, no, I have to wait. I have to wait till next time I do a podcast. I was like, because this is funny. I don't know why. Like, okay. So I was at Walmart. Excuse me. I had just gotten off of work. I got off work a little bit early. So I'm at the Walmart on Brook Road, not the big one, but the little neighborhood one that's like right off of Chamberlain. Well, near Chamberlain, but it's on Brook Road. But the small one right next to the Wawa's, if you know where I'm talking about. Anyway, so I have just picking up a couple of things, because I know it's Friday and about to be the weekend, and want to make sure the kid's good. So I had some milk. I had some whole milk in my basket, and all of a sudden, this older guy with his son, who looked around my age, maybe a little bit older, was just walking, mask on and everything. So just out of the blue, he came up to me, said, because it was crowded, like the store was like unusually crowded, but whatever. He said, and this is how he talked. He said, "Oh, I see you got some milk there. Okay." He said, "Oh, what, you got the whole milk?" He said, "Oh yeah, you better grab that before they nab everything up." He said, "Everybody's they're low stock on everything, but I see you got the milk." He said, "Milk is real good for the children." And so I just said, I was kind of like, okay. So I said, all I said was, yeah. I said, yeah, my kids love milk. I said, they love this whole milk. I said, okay. He said, "Oh, you got kids, huh?" He said, "How many?" I said, "Oh, 2. I said, 10-year-old boy, 5-year-old girl. Yeah. I said, "Yeah, they love milk." He said, "Oh, okay." He said, "So, when they were babies," he said, "so, he said, when they're babies, what kind of milk did you feed them?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "What kind of milk did you feed them when they were babies?" He said, "Similac or titty milk?" I said, "I'm sorry, huh? Excuse me?" He said, "What you feed them?" He said, just like that. He said, "What you feed them?" He said, "Similac or titty milk?"
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
I was like, mind you, I don't know this dude from a can of paint. And the dude's son is like, "Dad." Like Dad. So when he asked me that question, he said, "What you feed them? Similac or titty milk?" I said, "Titty milk, breast milk, sir." He said, "That titty milk." I just wish you guys could actually understand what was going on inside of my body at this time. He said, "That titty milk." He said, "Good. Make them strong, bone structure strong, make them smart too. Yeah, just what the kids need." He said, "Yeah, that's exactly what they need." And so I said, well, actually, my daughter was mostly on Similac. And he said, "Oh." He said, "Okay, nothing wrong with that." And his son again said, "Dad." He said, "Listen, shut up." He said, this is a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass man. We just talking." He said, "So your daughter was on the Similac, huh?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well," he looked around like that. He said, "Well, he seemed like a pretty cool guy, pretty cool customer." He said, "I always had a joke about females and Similac." He said, "I always used to say, if a female doesn't drink the titty milk when they're babies, well, they already got the titties, so they don't need the milk." And I was like, so I kind of just looked. I mean, like my face is covered in a mask. My eyes was just like this. And I just started slowly stomping my foot on the floor softly because I didn't know if that was offensive or if that was just downright hilarious. And he saw me stomping my feet a little bit. He said, What'd you stomping your feet for?" He said, "What, you Michael Jackson now all of a sudden?" He said, I don't know. I didn't ask for this. I promise I did not ask for this. But that was just going through my head the rest of the day. "What'd you feed him? Similac or titty milk?" I was like, that's how he said it to me. Oh, that's... I'm sorry. Like, I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Oh my goodness. And the fact that when I told him breast milk, that titty milk. Wait a minute. Are you still drinking this? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I didn't ask for this. But anyway, I mean, I'm so serious. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And I really needed that kind of chuckle for the day. Like, I didn't laugh out loud in public, but when I got back in my truck, I was dying laughing. I was like, yo! Oh my goodness gracious. Oh man, but anyway, oh my goodness. without further ado, let's get to it, people. Similacatitimic. Anyway, the NFL regular season has come to a close already. I mean, you feel the finality of it when you hear Scott Hanson say, for the final time this season, 7 hours of commercial-free football. You really feel the finality of like, damn, 18 weeks have gone that fast. Like, gee whiz. But anyway, we are down to 14 teams left. The playoffs start coming up this weekend, and let me review the games that happened this past weekend. First, the Saturday games. The Kansas City Chiefs did what I thought they would do when Drew Lock is starting a quarterback for the Denver Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs win, even though I can't really put that loss on Drew Lock because we were up 21-20 and going in for a touchdown, which may have won the game for us. I mean, I'm not saying that Kansas City couldn't come back and score a touchdown and a 2, but it put us in very good position. And of course, what happens? Melvin Gordon fumbles the ball and is scooped up and taken for a score. And here's a screwed up part about it, right? I'm watching the game. I'm upstairs. And the kids, they come in the room and I'm like, hey, you guys remember this? I was like, because we used to do a Broncos chant when they were real young, when we were winning. So they came and they said, oh, look, Roman said, look, they're about to score. I said, yeah, come on. I said, y'all watch my boy score this touchdown. The very next play was the fumble recovered for a touchdown for Kansas City. And Roman's gonna be like, the other team just scored. I said, get the hell out of here. I'm just playing. No, I did say that, but I wasn't saying that really at Roman. I was saying, get the hell out of here to the Broncos. So we finished the season 7-10. Thus, what happened yesterday morning on Sunday morning, Vic Fangio got fired. Can't say I'm surprised. Can't say I'm even upset. I mean, when you have a roster like we have a very, very talented roster all across the board except for the one position that matters most, that is the quarterback. Maybe somebody better start looking at John Elway as well, because we have now made NFL history in the way that we don't want to make NFL history. Since we've won the Super Bowl, since we won Super Bowl 50 6 years ago, we have not been back to the playoffs since. Only team in NFL history to win a Super Bowl and then miss the playoffs as many years in a row as we have. I mean, are you joking? And we have a absolutely loaded roster. And if this is Vic Fangio, and since Vic Fangio was out of there, please get Drew Lock the hell up out of there too.
Bye, bitch.
Goodness gracious, I don't like that guy as far as a football player. Don't know him personally, but as a football player, you suck. And the Kansas City Chiefs, they were looking for the first round bye. They finished their regular season at 12-5. Now, the next game, or the Saturday night game, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 51-26. The Philadelphia Eagles did pretty much what I thought they were going to do. They didn't play anybody. They didn't play any of their starters. They treated this as a bye week, as I thought they would. Now, this is what disgusts me about Dallas Cowboy fans. This is why they make me sick to my damn stomach. I seen a couple Cowboy fans on Facebook, even looked in the sports talk shows today, Cowboy Skip Bayless pumping your chest out, just really showing your balls because you put up 51 points against a team full of backups and third stringers. Really? That honestly shows to me exactly who the hell the Dallas Cowboys are. They beat up on bad teams. And on Saturday night, the Philadelphia Eagles did not put out a playoff team to play that game. They did not need to. They had already clinched. Their seeding didn't matter. They put out a team that you would put out for your last preseason game. And the Cowboys, Dak is back. Really? Dak is back because you put up 51 points on the MASH unit of the Philadelphia Eagles? You guys make me sick. Y'all really make me want to vomit.
You niggas are crazy.
Boy, I'm so glad that y'all motherfucking season gonna be over with after this weekend. I really am. And so y'all can sit and spin for the rest until the next football season. Anyway, on to Sunday's matchups. The Cincinnati Bengals treated this as a de facto bye week as well. They didn't play any of their starters. At least the starters they did play didn't play beyond the first quarter. Joe Burrow didn't play. Jamar Chase played minimum. Joe Mixon didn't play. And they lost to the Cleveland Browns 21-16, who didn't play really well. They actually played their starter. It was Baker Mayfield who didn't play. So Cleveland finishes their season at 8-9. The Bengals, they will be hosting a playoff game next week. Same thing in Green Bay. Green Bay did exactly what I thought they should do. They played Aaron Rodgers for the first half. They played their starters for the first half against an inspired, pumped up Detroit Lions team. Because a lot of people, let me ask a question. When did people become so scary and bitch made over playing athletes in sports games? All I heard all week was Aaron Rodgers shouldn't play. Aaron Rodgers shouldn't play. They have a bye week next week. Why wouldn't you play? So you want him to sit out. In fact, really, you want him to sit out pretty much 3 weeks of football. So when they come back in a one and done situation, a winner take all, so he can be rusty. No, Matt LaFleur did exactly what he should have done with his starters in Green Bay. Play them for the first half of the game. Treat this as if this was the third preseason game as a dress rehearsal. Play him the first half. Let Jordan Love get some reps in. Jordan Love, looked okay. But nonetheless, the Detroit Lions, they won the game 37-30. With that, the Detroit Lions lost the shot of getting the number 1 pick in the draft. I mean, one thing I will say, I will tip my cap to the Lions about is they played hard. And I'm glad that Dan Campbell was not one of these Monday morning casualties, and we'll get into that in a bit as far as head coaches losing their job, because I hope that he does have success with the Detroit Lions because they play. I mean, they play for him. Like a couple of weeks ago, remember a few weeks ago when I saw his press conference, I said I would so play for that dude. I really would. Next game, the Chicago Bears ended their season with a thudding loss to the Minnesota Vikings, 31-17, which as a result, both you coaches got fired. Ain't that a bitch? I mean, and to be honest with you, we pretty much knew that Matt Nagy for the Bears was going to get fired. Doesn't surprise me that Zimmer was going to get fired either, because you've underachieved. You've underachieved, and they gave Kirk Cousins that horrible contract, and they kept giving him horrible contracts. Next game, a game nobody cared anything about. The Washington football team defeated the New York Giants 22-7. The only thing I have to say about that game is Joe Judge should be fired for running a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9. And it's not like you were at your 1 yard line. You were about at your 10, and you ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9. That's a damn fireable offense right there. Upset of the day, maybe of the year. The Indianapolis Colts had one simple job to do: go into Jacksonville and beat the pathetic, lowly Jacksonville Jaguars to get into the playoffs. And you know what happened? Not only did the Colts lose, they got their ass whipped. I mean, the score 26-11, that looks too close. The Jacksonville Jaguars simply destroyed the Indianapolis Colts in a game where the Colts had to have it. There are going to be questions about Carson Wentz. There's already been questions about Carson Wentz. And they ain't going to do nothing but amp up, because he played the worst game of his career against the worst team in the league yesterday with the playoffs on the line. You have got to be kidding me. The AFC playoffs have been shaken up so much in the last 2 weeks. From what we thought they would be 2 weeks ago, they have been completely turned upside down. Indianapolis is out. The Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers played into overtime. We have been burying the Steelers all year. This is it for Ben Roethlisberger. Just get him out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Let him retire, because he's just looking bad. He's a liability for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Somehow, some way, the Steelers beat the Ravens 16-13 in overtime.
Biatch.
Now, when the Steelers walked off the field, they're thinking, yes, we are in the playoffs because of the Colts' loss. We are in the playoffs. The only thing that could keep them out of the playoffs would be a tie between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, I'm skipping all the way down to that night game because surely that wouldn't happen. The Steelers had a safe bet in the playoffs. But I'm pretty sure with 2 minutes to go in overtime in the Raiders and Chargers game, Mike Tomlin and Big Ben Roethlisberger's teeth was shaking like a cartoon character. I guarantee you that. The Las Vegas Raiders defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 35-32 on the last play of overtime, and I'm going to tell you this right now. I am so happy that the Chargers are not in the playoffs. Not because I'm a spiteful, petty Broncos fan, but because this is what I'm sick and tired of in sports. Analytics. And Brandon Staley, you's a jackass of a head coach. I mean, not saying that you don't have potential, not saying you won't go on to be a good coach, but for the 2021 season, you, my friend, are the reason why your team did not make the playoffs.
Release
you, because all of the unnecessary calls on fourth down, you go for it on 4th and 2 at your own 18-yard line last night. What the hell are you thinking? I mean, it's arrogance. It's I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm going to prove you guys wrong. And it's not like you're even an offensive-minded head coach. You were the Rams D coordinator last year. So you think because I have a superstar talent in Justin Herbert, he can get me out of anything. Check this out, people. The Chargers made a sensational comeback to send the game to overtime. Damn near won the game in overtime. But when the Raiders had the ball, they're driving. The Raiders are running the ball. Okay, it's about 38 seconds left. The Raiders were content to run the ball and run the clock out because they knew the scenario. Even if we finish in a tie, we're going to the playoffs. So you know what? Let's not take a chance and have something crazy happen and we miss out on a chance to go to the playoffs. If we tie, we're in, they're in, Pittsburgh, go home, whatever. Whatever. So it's 38 seconds ago and Brandon Staley takes a timeout. He took a timeout because he said he wanted to get his run package on the field, but that's not it. It's 3rd and 4. You took an unnecessary timeout instead of letting the clock run out. On 3rd and 4, they ran the ball, and you couldn't stop them. They gassed you to get in a reasonable field goal position, and that's how they won the game. Brandon Staley, you's a dummy. You an idiot. I'm so serious. You are the reason why the Los Angeles Chargers will be sitting at home during the playoffs because with your over-analytical ass. Let me tell you something about analytics in sports. They don't belong there. You know why? Because you're taking the human factor out of the game. Is analytics playing the damn game? No. Does analytics have a pulse? No, because analytics said that the Pittsburgh Steelers had a 10% chance to get into the playoffs when yesterday started. Well, guess what? The 10% won. But at the end of the day, who cares? Honestly, I'm not trying to be funny. That really gets on my damn nerves. It really gets on my nerves when I see on the bottom of the TV screen, oh, such and such team has a 2% chance to win. Bruh, let's never eliminate the human equation in a sport played by human beings. And Brandon Staley, you's a dummy. And you deserve to be home for the playoffs. Honestly, I would seriously consider giving your ass the axe because you're sitting there trying to outsmart everybody and you outsmarted yourself. And a very good Los Angeles Chargers football team, Jekyll and Hyde, yes, they have been, but nonetheless, a team that nobody wanted to see in the playoffs are now sitting at home because of the foolishness of their head coach. And as far as the Raiders are concerned, you have got to give them nothing but credit. I had the Raiders buried after Thanksgiving. They have gone through so much in the last 2.5 months between John Gruden, between Henry Ruggs. Hell, they just had a rookie cornerback get a DUI last week. And with all of that, the Raiders still somehow, someway, the loss of John Madden, Somehow, some way, the Las Vegas Raiders found a way to get into the playoffs for only the second time in the last 20 NFL seasons. And this is why I picked them to win this game. No reason, just a gut feeling. I mean, I took into consideration everything the Raiders have been through. This is now a Sunday night nationally televised game. You're at home. And then on top of that, when I saw John Madden's wife and his kids and grandkids on the field, I said, ain't no way the Raiders are going to lose this. They tried. They damn near did. But I said, but at the end of the day, I said, no, the Raiders ain't going to lose this one. And, congrats to them. So think about this. Just think about this in retrospect for the AFC. 2 weeks ago, I was sitting there saying, wow, all of these wild card games are going to be a trip because nobody wants to play the Colts. Nobody wants to play the Chargers. Nobody wants to play the Patriots. The damn Colts and the Chargers ain't even in there. I mean, you talk about Kansas City saying, ha! Because you were looking at possibly playing the Chargers or the Raiders. Now, they've smacked the Raiders twice, but I find it hard-pressed to believe that they would have put up 41, that they're going to completely annihilate a division rival 3 times in a season. They might have beat the Raiders, but just flat out dogging them 3 times in a season, I found that hard to believe. To having to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, shout out to Pittsburgh too, because everybody had them buried before the season. Now, I personally think that Kansas City is going to smoke Pittsburgh, but just them getting in the playoffs, this is why Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach. Because I thought this was going to be the first season where he had a losing record. Boy, was I wrong. Think about the AFC North for a second. At the beginning of the season, who were the teams that you thought that would get in? Cleveland, Baltimore? Yeah. Instead, it's Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This is the NFL for you. On to the rest of the scores. The Tennessee Titans secured home field advantage for the AFC and beating the Houston Texans 28-25. That game got a little bit more interesting than it needed to be because the Titans were up 21-0. But I think the Texans may have found a quarterback in Davis Mills. The kid can play. And salute to David Culley, too, because he had really nothing to work with, and he had those guys ready to play every week. Next game, the New Orleans Saints. Their playoff hopes were not dead yet. They needed to handle their business against the Atlanta Falcons, and they did that, winning 30-20. I'll get back to them in a second. The Buffalo Bills clinched the AFC East, beating the New York Jets 27-10. And the Miami Dolphins, they swept the New England Patriots 33-24. The Miami Dolphins finished the season winning 8 of their last 9 games to finish with a winning record, and guess what happened? They fired Brian Flores today, their coach.
God damn!
That's the one that's got everybody saying, what's
wrong with you?
The fuck?
You niggas are crazy!
Why would they do that? So to me, you're looking at a Miami Dolphins organization that to me just, I don't know, unless you getting Jim Harbaugh, what in the hellum sticks are you doing? Because Brian Flores definitely can coach his ass off, and he's going to have another head coaching job real quick. I would say Brian Flores, come on to Denver. The only issue with that is our last 2 coaches have been defensive-minded head coaches, and that's gotten us nowhere, unfortunately. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went in on a high note, defeating the Carolina Panthers 41-17. The Arizona Cardinals, they better be glad that they didn't win their division because they for whatever reason, they can't win at home. The Seattle Seahawks beat them 38-30. And now, mind you, the reason why the Cardinals could have won the division because in another game that was the second game of the day because it's hard to top that Chargers-Raiders game. The Rams and the 49ers. The 49ers, who to me had the most difficult task to get in the playoffs because they were at Los Angeles, team who was looking to win the division. The 49ers were down 17-0, and they came storming back to beat the Los Angeles Rams in overtime 27-24. Jimmy Garoppolo, torn ligaments in his thumb. Who gives a damn? Throws for that biblical 3-16. And the 49ers win off of a Matthew Stafford interception that's becoming a disturbing trend for him. So the 49ers are in. The Rams still win the division. The Cardinals are a wild card. The playoffs are set.
Excellent.
And here are the matchups. I'm going to give you the date, time, and the place. Okay, so we'll start off Saturday at 4:30. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders who have just come out of nowhere to make the playoffs, they will be at Cincinnati to play them Bengals. Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Higgins, Boyd. Okay, I ain't going to give my predictions yet. I'm going to wait till my compadre comes on the line. Saturday night on CBS, and the first game is on NBC. Saturday night on CBS, the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills, 8:15. That game is, this is personal on CBS. Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox, the Philadelphia Eagles go into the Lions' den. That is the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Go, Philly, go. And then the game that's going to get most of the pub all weekend, I'm telling you, nostalgia heads are rolling right now, 4:30 on CBS. Go figure, the San Francisco 49ers, them dangerous Niners, those Super Bowl Niners from 2 years ago, go into Dallas to take on the Cowboys, 4:30 on CBS. The Sunday night game, the Pittsburgh Steelers, how the hell are they even here? They go to Arrowhead Stadium to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, 8:15 on NBC, essentially Sunday night football. The Chiefs are the reigning and defending two-time AFC champions. Is this Ben Roethlisberger's last game? Probably. And we, for the first time in playoff history, have Monday Night Football. The Arizona Cardinals, who couldn't seem to buy a win at home the last 2 months of the season, are going on their favorite place, the road. They are at their division rival, the Los Angeles Rams, at 8:15 on ESPN and ABC. The playoffs are here. And as promised, it's almost that prediction time, but I got my man's Tony here, as he has been for pretty much the entire season. What up, Doe?
Yo, what is going on?
Playoff time, homie.
It is playoff time. It is also Black Monday. But yes, it is playoff time, the most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, man, the most wonderful time of the year goes from September to February. I mean, real talk. But, okay, so you saw what happened on yesterday. So, okay, what was your main takeaway from just yesterday alone?
My main takeaway is that the Chargers perhaps need to be be part of that coaching carousel, because that game last night, the Chargers have been up and down, and I've been riding with Herbert all year.
Yep.
They've been up and down, but last night did not necessarily come down to the players. It came down to poor coaching decisions.
Oh boy.
Multiple poor coaching decisions.
Oh yeah. And so, I went on a tirade about Brandon Staley when I was giving a review of the past games. Oh yeah, no question about it. And that's why I said this. I'm happy that the Chargers did not make the playoffs, not because I'm a spiteful, bitter Broncos fan, but because I hate analytics in sports. And Brandon Staley is the poster boy for thinking that analytics trumps the human element in football.
He overthought that, because every part of my being was saying the Raiders are going to let them in.
Yeah. Yes.
If nothing more than despite the Steelers.
Yes.
They would let them in,
Yes. The coach said it at the press conference. He didn't directly say, yeah, we were going to go for the tie, but he said, yeah, we had discussed the options, which is basically telling you we were content. The Raiders knew that they had, it was under a minute to go. They had the ball for all intents and purposes. They just needed nothing crazy to happen, but they knew for all intents and purposes, they were in the playoffs. And rather than risk something happen, they said, you know what? We can tie. We'll be in anyway. It'll change our destination for next week, but we'll be in. They'll be in. Pittsburgh will be out. So what? And the Chargers coach blew it. And this was the part that was worse to me, right? He said he called timeout to get his run package in. Then why the hell did they give up 15 yards on the very next run on third down?
Exactly. Exactly. and I think from the Raiders' standpoint, if you narrow it down and say, okay, their only dog in the fight was what destination. I mean, it really didn't matter because in both of them situations, they've been smacked up against both of either team they would have went to. The Chiefs destroyed them, and
they go to Cincinnati.
And Cincinnati destroyed them. So either way, they were going to end up with a team, one of those two teams, end up with a team that basically beat them down. So they had no dog in the fight. Like, you're right, rather than risk anything happen, every part of my being says that they were going to kneel and just to have another division.
Yeah. With three teams. Yeah.
In there. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. They have no allegiance to the Steelers. Matter of fact, they got bad blood.
Yeah, they hate the Steelers, if anything. I mean, and think about this. Think about how much the AFC just flipped upside down last week. Because for the last month, we've been saying, don't nobody want to see the Colts. Don't nobody want to see the Chargers.
Here's the thing about the Colts, though. You can't lay that at the feet. You can lay some at the feet of Carson Wentz, but that was a total team collapse.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz throwing 3 interceptions, that ain't help.
It didn't help that he got sacked 6. So what happened to the Colts offensive line?
Hey.
They spent all them first round picks in them offensive lines, and how many sacks? 6, 7?
I'm gonna tell you something though. Carson Wentz played the worst game of his career, statistically, literally from QBR, passer rating, everything. This was the worst game of his career against the worst team in the NFL. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I am laughing my ass off. Remember, I asked you this last week. Who do you think won the trade?
Yeah, but still, I still say they won. The Colts won the trade. But again, it all starts with when Carson Wentz having a bad day. Why was he under so much pressure? Like, I mean, Jacksonville's defense is Jacksonville's defense. But come on, man, they made them dudes look like all pros, and it wasn't even like heavy blitz. It was just 4 men.
Yeah. They literally were getting at Wentz with a front 4, but Wentz also made some bad decisions too, man. I mean, he did. Like, I was like, I literally was laughing the whole game. I really was, because while I wanted to see the Colts win, because I want to see the best competition possible in the playoffs. I think Kansas City's gonna smoke Pittsburgh, but when I'm sitting here looking at, I'm like, you guys. You know what's on the line, and y'all have come out. Y'all didn't just lose. Y'all got blown out. You didn't lose. You got blown out. That was a garbage time touchdown by the Colts to make the score 26-11. They got dog.
Did you watch their 2 drives, their first 2 drives? Did
Yes.
you watch the game at all?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what did you notice about those first 2 drives?
Well, for one, Jonathan Taylor wasn't breaking. Yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
that was it right there. That was a foretelling of what their day was going to be like.
Yeah, when I saw Jonathan Taylor get stopped on a 4th and 2, their first drive of the game, actually, he got stopped on 4th and 2. But I took it as, okay, all right, this might be a bit of a dog fight, because every game yesterday was a divisional game. Every game played last week was a divisional game. So I'm like, okay, division rival come to battle you. Okay. I didn't think the Colts defense dropped the ball. You said it was a total team effort, and it was, because they couldn't stop Marvin Jones. They couldn't stop Trevor Lawrence.
Nope.
And I'm like, yo, like, really?
And they got to a point, the game was still in hand. I mean, it was still close before it became a blowout. It was still close, and they just said, screw the run game. They just gave up. They just said,
and he threw, and on back-to-back possessions, he threw picks.
Yep.
When he threw his 3rd interception, I said, oh, it's over. But here's the funnier part about it. See, it was the way that everything synced up together for the NFL yesterday. It was coincidental, but it was brilliant, because at the same time, while the Colts are getting embarrassed, the Steelers and the Ravens damn near tied. I said, you mean to tell me? I said, wait a minute. I said, the Colts are gonna lose, but the Steelers and Ravens are gonna tie, and the Colts are gonna get in anyway. Because
yeah, it looked that way for a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy, because like I said, I think Pittsburgh is going to get smoked by Kansas City. But I got to take my hat off to Mike Tomlin because this may be his best coaching job ever, considering the fact that Ben is washed. He is what he is. He's washed up. I mean, he's not even that good of a game manager now. Their defense is outstanding. So that's why I think this game will be competitive for maybe the first quarter. Their defense is outstanding, but even though a bit banged up, got to give credit to the Raiders too, because everything that they went through in the last 2 months of the season between Gruden, Henry Ruggs, they had a player last week get arrested on a DUI, John Madden dying, and that's what made. Remember, I picked the Raiders to win this game last week. I said the Raiders were gonna win. And when I saw Madden's wife and his kids and his grandkids on the field, I said, oh, they ain't losing this shit. They tried to. They damn near gave it away at the end and in overtime when Mike Williams had the ball bounce off his hand.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man, because the Chargers are a really good football team. And because of their head coach, they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, they ain't good enough to go for it at their own 20 in the second quarter.
Exactly. That was the third quarter, bro.
Or third quarter, yeah, they ain't that good.
Giving it to a running back whose game is not, he's not a power runner. Eckler's not a power runner.
And you're only down, what, 5?
3. They were down 3.
3 at that point.
Yeah, I was like, bro, I said, what are you doing?
Nothing, he can't say the analytics supported that.
But see, you know, I watched this morning on Get Up. Ryan Clark said something that seemed very true. He said Brandon Staley. He said every fourth down looks the same to Brandon Staley, and he said not all fourth downs are created equal, and that is so true. And like I said, that's what he gets because you can't totally disregard the human element. And then on top of that, you're putting Justin Herbert in a very, very bad position. Now, he got all the fourth down plays, you know, when they absolutely had to have them. But I guarantee you, if for a handful of times throughout the season, Brandon Staley would have just took the points instead of going for it on fourth down, I guarantee you the Chargers might have won the division. So it is what it is. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Now, as far as the NFC goes, everybody tough in that bitch. Everybody tough in the NFC. Honestly, like there's only one. Like I see I don't want to totally disrespect Pittsburgh and say the Chiefs have a gimme game, but that's as close as gonna get in all of the first round matchups in the playoffs. You may want to say, people may say, well, Philly going to Tampa, but at the same time, I understand Philly's strength, their run game is Tampa Bay's strength, run defense, but that quarterback can make a big difference. That quarterback can make a big difference as far as that's concerned, but everything in the NFC is tough.
Okay. So my takeaway from these NFC matchups, you're right that's Tampa Bay's strength, that run game and
the run defense. Tampa's strength on their defense is a run defense.
Well, yeah, but the key thing with Philly, if they want to have a chance, and I don't know that it comes down to Hurts as much as it comes down to Philly's front, has to pressure Brady.
And they can. That's the thing.
You gotta put him in the dirt. You gotta put him in the dirt. If you don't, then ultimately he's gonna pick you apart. Well, Philly
did the smart thing on Saturday. I didn't expect them to play anybody against y'all, and they didn't. It was a de facto bye week. That's why I'm not even trying to be funny. To look on TV and to look on Facebook and to see Cowboy fans actually talking shit, I'm like, they should be ashamed of themselves. The Eagles sent a mash unit on the field.
These are still professional players, and to be fair, we sat a lot of starters too. The reason why everyone wondered why Dak was in there for that half.
Well, I didn't.
Well, we know why. Well, one, because McCarthy he said it. He don't believe in that layoff thing. He's like, he come out rusty, so he was gonna play them dudes.
And I don't blame him. But also, they had seeding issues to look at too.
Seeding issues, and then the other thing, I never knew this until the game was over. Until I looked at our board. So Dak became the first ever starting quarterback to run the table in the NFC East. No one's ever done it. Not Theismann, not Aikman, nobody has ever done it. Okay. I did not know that.
Okay. I mean,
So
that's a feather in his cap.
That one game, you might say, well, shit, see if we can win it.
Well, I didn't think. Well, remember, that's why I picked y'all, because I didn't think for 1 second, when I found out that the Eagles, that their seeding, that their play, that game would have no impact on their seeding, then it was pointless for them to play. So I knew Dallas was going to send the starters out because they could have finished as high as number 2. So I figured they would try to improve their ceiling. I didn't know that either, as far as running the table, as far as clean sweeping the NFC East. But I mean,
it turns out 3 is better than 2. It turns out that 3rd seed with San Fran is better than being at 2, because you let the Chargers and the Rams and the Cardinals division go ahead and do what they do. Go ahead, slug it out. And San Fran, the key, you got to tackle Debo, baby. You can't do them to run after.
Well, Tampa ended up getting the 2nd seed. So Tampa's the 2, Philly's the 7. Philly's the 7 because, if San Francisco had a lost and the Saints had got in, remember the Eagles held the head-to-head against the Saints, so they would have moved up. They would have actually ended up playing y'all, actually, had San Francisco lost. No, actually, no, I take that back, because had San Francisco lost, all of the top 4 seeds, well, as far as 2 through 4, actually, if San Francisco had a loss, y'all would have been playing Arizona. I take that back. Because if the Bucks, Rams, and the Cowboys won, the seeding wouldn't have changed.
Provided Russell didn't do what he did.
And I don't think Russell's going anywhere. I just don't. I don't think he's going anywhere. I thought that might have been his swan song as a Seahawk. I don't think so. I don't. Something.
You think it might be Pete Carroll's though?
I don't think either one of them are gonna go anywhere. Tell you the truth. I think that what they're gonna try to do is try to retool the roster. You have to do something with their defense, because like people don't forget. Maybe Russell Wilson has forgotten what carried him to that Super Bowl title. Not saying that he wasn't an integral part of it, because he was, but at that point in time, he was just a bus driver.
Right.
He was a steady bus driver who showed flashes of being able to take a game over. I mean, because he made the Pro Bowl his first 2 years as a quarterback, but we knew that was about the Legion of Boom. But no, I don't think Russ going anywhere. And as far as the Cardinals are concerned, they need to be happy that they lost, because they don't win at home. To be honest with you, they don't win at home. They need to be happy, because think about it. If they beat Russ, they win the division. You know what I mean? They're winning the division, and all them and the Rams do is flip-flop. The game would have been in Arizona instead of L.A. But, those are some tough games. Now, before we get into picking the matchups, what do you think? Let's talk about Black Monday. Go for it.
I don't understand Miami. I do not understand Miami. All the others, they sort of make sense. I sent you the thing about Mayo. You said Rooney Rule. But you also want to talk to Quinn and Kellen Moore, and there was one other.
You talking about for Denver?
Yeah.
I'm be honest with you.
Dan Quinn.
I wouldn't be. Honestly, no, because I wouldn't be mad I would not be mad if Denver hired Brian Flores. Here's the issue, and I'm talking about this strictly from the Broncos' perspective. Our last 2 head coaches have been defensive coaches, and it's gotten us nowhere.
That's what I said about Dan Quinn. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, his record as a head coach is like Wade Phillips.
Right.
But also, he's a defensive-minded coach, and you need an offensive-minded guy that's going to bring in a quarterback.
Exactly, because when we had Gary Kubiak, even though we all know that was a friend doing another friend a solid, we still won a Super Bowl. We won a Super Bowl. He was an offensive-minded coach. Vance Joseph, no. Vic Fangio? I honestly wish we would keep him as our defensive coordinator, because I do. But no, I think we're gonna go offensive coach. Even though when I saw Brian Flores get fired, I said, "You got to be kidding me." So where do you think? So where do you think he's gonna end up?
The only thing I can figure with Flores is they brought him in and talked to him, and maybe they disagreed on direction, or he wanted more pull or something. and they just said, we're gonna go in a different direction then, because based on they couldn't have terminated them based on effort, body of work, blah blah blah. 'Cause
No.
they're trending up. The Dolphins are trending up.
Right.
So trending up to the point where on paper you'd look at them and say they should be a playoff team next year.
I mean, they won 8 of their last 9 games.
A couple pieces fill in a few pieces on the team, and they'll be a playoff team. So they just had to have disagreed on maybe the future or his power in terms of deciding, maybe whether it was draft or whatever. Don't know, but I'm curious to see, because it'll leak out eventually, or it'll come out of his own mouth why they separated. So I'm just curious to see what it is. As far as where he ends up, like I said, I think he'd be a good fit maybe for y'all. I think he'd be good with the Bears.
See, I think the Bears are part of that Jim Harbaugh sweepstakes. Because, see, they're linking Harbaugh to everybody that has anything to do with Michigan or his NFL career. Because, he played for the Bears under Ditka. He was a quarterback for the Bears for a while. And then the owner of Miami is a University of Michigan grad.
Right.
So they're saying they might try to get him there. But then Desmond Howard comes on Dan Le Batard and says, I don't believe he's going anywhere, because every year after the college football season, for the last 5 years, they've been saying when is Harbaugh might return to the NFL. So you never know. But that's the first thing I heard when they said Brian Flores was fired, that they're looking at Jim Harbaugh. So I don't know. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if we hired Flores, but we need an offensive-minded head coach. Unless, and I was thinking about this last week, I think what I see ended up happening, because if you look at all the landscape of coaching outside of the AFC East until today, every coach for the AFC East until today was a defensive-minded coach. Belichick, McDermott, Flores, and Robert Saleh. But if you look at all of these coaches that are in the playoffs, particularly in the NFC, every single coach is an offensive head. Every single coach.
Well, I'll be honest, if I'm Jacksonville, I'm exploring Flores too.
So would I. Oh my God, so would I. But see, the only thing about that is because they've talked about Harbaugh to Jacksonville. The only thing about that is you want to have somebody who can develop Trevor Lawrence. What I think is going to end up happening, because what I'm noticing is these defensive coordinators who are getting head coaching jobs, for whatever reason, they're not lasting. For whatever reason, in recent football years. What you're going to end up seeing is that if you have a defensive guy hired as head coach, I think you're going to end up seeing an offensive coordinator. Once you realize you have a really good offensive coordinator like a Kellen Moore or a Byron Leftwich or a brother from the Chiefs, name Eric Bieniemy, they're going to start making head coach money, because it's going to be hard for defensive guys to keep jobs, because the league is so offensively driven now. And I think what's going to happen, you're going to start seeing these coordinators, in order to get them to stay, these offensive coordinators, get them to stay with a defensive-minded head coach, because honestly, I think that's what Tomlin probably needs. You're going to find yourself getting a high price. Remember when Wade Phillips was y'all coach and he was paying Jason Garrett head coach money?
Well, that wasn't Wade Phillips. That was Jerry Jones paying Jason Garrett.
That's what I'm.
Stay with the express intent that he would eventually become head coach.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, now it might not go that far as to saying, well, I want you to stay because you're going to be the next head coach, but something like Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels has been the OC for New England forever. I mean, he had one head coaching gig, coached with us for a year and a half, and then went right back to New England, and that was a decade ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think you're going to find situations like that, because it's hard for defensive coordinators now. Now, Flores had no business being fired. Like, we don't know what happened on the inside, but it's at least given his resume. Now, if they had to finish the season 2-15, I don't think nobody would be shocked. But the fact that they started 1-7 and won 8 of their last 9 games and still finished with a winning record, and last season won 10 games, It's a head scratcher. Now, Brandon Staley, if he got fired today, I would laugh.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'll tell you another team that if I'm them, I would take a look at Flores, and that's the Vikings, because they're a ready-made team.
Yep.
You know,
I'm gonna tell you another team, and this is no disrespect to the interim coach, the Raiders. Now, Biasaka may have made his case that he should be the coach, especially given the turnaround that they just had. But if you weren't convinced that you want to take the interim tag off him, I would look at the Raiders too. Why? Because you have an established quarterback there already.
right?
And I'm sorry, I'm taking Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins any day.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Do you think Kirk Cousins could have pulled off what Derek Carr just pulled off with the Raiders?
With Kirk, I don't know I'm not sure anybody actually knows what Kirk Cousins is, because in the big picture, it's like 1 week he looks like world beater, Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and then the next week he looks less than that, but then other aspects of the team don't, like the defense or whatever. Kirk Cousins quietly has actually had a good season.
He has, but okay, let me ask you something. Swap Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr for teams. Put Derek Carr on the Vikings, put Kirk Cousins on the Raiders. Who do you think what team do you think has a better year?
I can't call it. Honestly, I can't call it. I can't call it, because to me, I don't think that one is actually better than the other. I just think that circumstances,
I think Derek Carr is better than Kirk Cousins. That's just my opinion. I think if you put Derek Carr with with Jefferson and Thielen and Cook.
Again, it's hard to call. I don't know. I don't think either one is better. That's my opinion. I don't think that either one is better than the other, because Derek Carr really hasn't done anything that Kirk Cousins hasn't done. And
that's true. That part is true, because Kirk Cousins has won a playoff game. I will say that. That's true.
So I don't look at them like they're no different.
But the Vikings, one thing I'll give the Vikings credit for, they have consistently kept a loaded team around Kirk Cousins.
I'll say this, and both of them have been more so Derek Carr than Kirk Cousins, because I don't think in Kirk Cousins' career, I don't think he ever was technically considered dead and stinking. Derek Carr nearly was not a Raider because he was dead and stinking. He was that bad. And I'm old enough to remember that Derek Carr. Kirk Cousins, even with the Redskins, when they decided to move on from him, he still, statistically was up there.
Well, remember though, this is the second time that Derek Carr has taken the Raiders to the playoffs. His best season was 2016, the year he happened to break his ankle. Gruden wasn't the coach, and that was really where it came from, where you thought Derek Carr might not be a Raider because they didn't think he was going to fit in with John Gruden. He had already taken the Raiders to the playoffs. Under Jack Del Rio. He was an MVP candidate, and to be honest with you, the only reason why the Raiders don't even win that division is because with 3 weeks to go in the season, he broke his ankle.
This is true.
But
the up and down with the Vikings, for instance, this year, but all their games have been close.
Well, I think Flores would be perfect for either.
Up and down is not necessarily Kirk Cousins.
Flores would be perfect for either job, because even if he was to go to Minnesota, and Minnesota will hire they've hired black coaches. That's not an issue. The Rooney Rule really doesn't apply to the Vikings franchise. Denny Green, Leslie Frazier, it doesn't apply to them, because they do what they got to do. They legitimately hire the best man they think for the job. He would be good either spot, because he does. I think Carr is better than Cousins, but Cousins is an established quarterback. As far as if he went to Jacksonville, you still have questions about Trevor Lawrence. He just came from a situation like that, as far as having to deal with Tua.
Right.
So I think that's why I don't think he's going to come to us, because what the hell do we have at quarterback?
Yeah.
We were damn near. We were on the cusp of the playoffs until Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, And then you saw what Drew Lock is. He sucks. Like, I mean, straight up. Straight up.
Yeah.
Now, Nagy getting fired didn't surprise me. I told you to watch out for Zimmer. I told you last week, I said Zimmer might be out of there.
Well, Zimmer won't be out of a job long.
He'll be somebody's
marking it
defensive.
down now.
He'll be somebody's
I'm
D
marking it down
coordinator.
now. If Quinn takes a head coaching job, Zimmer will be our defensive coordinator.
I was getting ready to say, yeah, he'll be somebody's DC.
Yeah, because Jerry's always, certain guys he leave the door open for no matter what. Zimmer is one of them guys that anytime you want to come back, not an issue. And, they don't run their defense. The only difference between Quinn and Zimmer in terms of the way they run their defense is Zimmer is aggressive. He'll send that blitz, whereas Quinn likes to play the 4-man and blitz rarely.
And I heard Joe Judge might be on the chopping block.
No, they're bringing him back.
They are.
I saw a report.
Well, look, honestly, he'd have been in my book. He'd have been fired when he quarterback snuck it on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, how about that?
I'm the owner. I'd have caved. I said, no, you got to get the hell out of my stadium. 3rd and 9 is not.
I think Judge in his situation and a lot of the owners, they don't want to pull the trigger that quick because they don't want to admit they're wrong. Or they, made the wrong selection, so they'll let the guy shoot himself in the foot again twice. That way he can justify moving on.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this:
I gave him all the opportunity in the world.
The Giants were an injury-riddled team. This is true. But next year, if they finish, if they don't make the playoffs next year, or if they don't even have a win, if they finish 9-8 and barely miss the playoffs, I think maybe he'll come back. But I think if they have a stinker of a season next year, he's out, Gettleman's out, Daniel Jones is out, Saquon will probably
Gettleman
want
is out already.
Oh, they fired him.
No, Gettleman retired.
Oh boy, the Giants need to throw a party. Well, but you know what?
You already had your early scapegoat with Jason Garrett getting fired and Gettleman retired. So now that further proves my point because a new GM ain't tied to Joe Judge. So he'll be ready to get rid of him and bring in his own guy. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Joe Judge knows that okay, next year, this is his 3rd year.
I think they want to talk to, at least what I saw, they're interested in, I think, the Chiefs GM.
Who, the Giants?
Yeah.
Somebody need to go ahead and give Eric Bieniemy a job. I'm serious. But okay. So who do you think? Because I understand, like, as far as Flores possibly. Well, you didn't say Flores to the Bears because I'm thinking the Bears are strictly going offense.
No, I said that. I said he would be good in Chicago.
I think they're going offense for Justin Fields. I think they're going to develop. I think they want to get an offensive coach.
And I think that in Chicago, a black head coach, they give him a chance. They give him a chance.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm just saying I don't think Flores is going to be there. I would think Bieniemy would have a better chance to end up there.
Maybe. I think that either or.
Just because of Justin Fields, because what you're going to have to do with Justin Fields, pretty much what Sirianni has done with the Eagles, and what Harbaugh does with Lamar Jackson. We talked about this last week, building the team to your quarterback strong suits. Well, the Bears are going to be one of those teams that have to do that.
Right.
And speaking of coaches, who would you give Coach of the Year to? And don't say Mike McCarthy because you wouldn't mean it.
No, Mike McCarthy had a ready-made team. I'm not giving Coach of the Year to any coach that came to a franchise that basically was already in playoff position, contention, whatever. No. Wow. Yeah, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. because all the really, with the exception of the bottom dwellers in these playoffs, all the teams that are in the playoffs were expected to be there. And they all, for the most part, whether it's Stafford or these are all established quarterbacks. These are
all right. Well, let me throw out some names. Okay, I'm not gonna say Matt LaFleur because the last he won 13 games his first 2 years, and like you said, ready-made team. Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. I'm not gonna say McVay because to me the Rams. The only way they justify the trade is if they win the Super Bowl, not get to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff got you to the damn Super Bowl, but you have to win it. All right, so let me throw out some names who I think possible. Belichick, rookie quarterback. Hold on, let me finish. Let me
That's
finish.
where I'll go.
Wait a minute.
Nobody else.
You sure now? You sure now?
Nobody else. Yeah, I'm positive. Nobody else. Belichick, and I'll tell you why. The bottom dwellers, for instance, Sirianni, that I saw on during our game when they put up the graphic of the Coach of the Year candidates, and they had him listed in there. And I said, well, playoff format benefits people a lot. Yeah, I mean, just in general. Now, while it is admirable they made the playoffs, just in general, from a talent perspective, they barely made the playoffs. So. And they may have been expected at the beginning of the season to make the playoffs.
Who?
Philadelphia.
No, Philadelphia was picked to finish last in the division.
I don't know. I think the Giants were picked.
No,
last.
I'm telling you.
The Giants and the Washington football team may have been picked.
No, because a lot of people were picking Washington to win the division, to go back to back in the division. I never believed. I promise you. I promise you. No, I never believed Washington. I never thought Washington would win the division because Ryan, coming into the season, Ryan Fitzpatrick was your quarterback. I said this to you. I said, you can't ask Ryan Fitzpatrick to do something he's never done. The Giants, they weren't picked to finish last because they had a heap of talent before, and even though their offensive line was still trash, nobody knew, because remember, Nick Sirianni's opening press conference turned everybody off. They was like, oh, what the hell? They still were asking questions about Jalen Hurts. The Eagles were picked to finish last in the worst division, what was called the worst division in football. I'm not sitting here saying that Nick Sirianni should win Coach of the Year. He would have been one of my choices, but the Eagles have clearly overachieved. Clearly. Now if you're going with Belichick, okay, cool. So that's your pick, Belichick?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Belichick because they went from it's the before and after effect. You go from Tom Brady into this young rookie quarterback, and you don't miss a beat. There's an argument to be made that they may be better than the team that Tom Brady left. Maybe the past two years. Better than those Patriots.
No, they are. I don't have no doubt about that. Yeah.
So
they had no wide receivers that could separate.
Yeah. So
and I think out of stubborn pride is the only reason why N'Keal Harry still has a job.
I'm gonna go there and arguably Vrabel.
Oh, and he's my pick, Vrabel. Because I was with you on Belichick until the last 2 weeks of the season. But you got to consider, look, first of all, look at all the playoff teams Tennessee beat. You lost your best player mid-season. Remember, we all pretty much buried Tennessee. We thought they would make the playoffs because they had such a lead on the division and they had swept the Colts. But them getting the number 1 seed? I mean, think about it. They beat Kansas City. They beat Buffalo.
What it is, level of competition. They've beaten the best teams.
They've beaten the best teams, yes. And they continue to beat the best teams without their best player. And not only Derrick Henry, for the majority of the season, you didn't have Julio. Half of the season, you didn't have A.J. Brown. And they're tough. I'm pretty close to damn near saying they might end up in the Super Bowl. Because now they're getting healthy at the right time. Because Derrick Henry will be back. He's playing the playoffs. And now on top of that, they finished number 1. They're getting a bye week. Julio just caught his first touchdown pass yesterday. That was his first touchdown catch of the season. I mean, he's been dealing with the hamstring all year. That the Titans, it's you know why we don't. Because I've said this the whole season. I gotta see it to believe it with the Titans. Damn it, I'm seeing it. I mean, I'm seeing it. And to me, the issue with the Titans has always been Tannehill. It's always been Tannehill. But I've been alive long enough to see mediocre to slightly above mediocre quarterbacks win Super Bowls when the rest of the team around you is solid and solidified. Tennessee's tough. They got a good line. They got a great defense. Like I said, they're getting healthy, and they have home field advantage now. And to me, you got to give Vrabel credit for that.
It probably should be Vrabel because I mean,
if New England had finished number one, I would have said yes.
But are you really at the end of the day? Are you really surprised that they fielded a extremely competitive team? No.
No, not surprised. Not surprised.
It's a system.
Yeah. Not surprised, but like I said, we all thought that when Derrick Henry got hurt, we're like, ooh, that might be all she wrote for the Titans. Like I said, they had such a large lead in their division where it's like, yeah, they're going to get in the playoffs. But they might be.
Well, I'll agree with you on the Titans. I was talking about the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
Them in the grand scheme of things. Their division. No, it wasn't surprising that they would still field a competitive playoff level team.
Oh yeah. See, if the Patriots had finished,
Matt Jones, it looks a lot better than that. Than he was expected.
We'll see if the Patriots had finished number one or even winning their division, even winning the AFC East. I would probably rock with you on the Belichick thing. Because remember, like 4 weeks ago, they were number one in the AFC.
Yeah.
Like if they had so much, because I remember I thought that division race was over. I did. When they got in first place and got a couple of games up on Buffalo, when they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, I said, oh, that's it. That's a wrap. Patriots going to win the division. Because remember, I was saying it's looking like it's going to be Kansas City and New England for the AFC. But Mac Jones has kind of played like a rookie the last couple of. That's just what I don't get about what Miami did. For whatever reason, Flores has Belichick's number for whatever reason, and you let that go.
I don't know either.
I mean, for real. I mean, and it's not like New England didn't rest anybody yesterday. The Dolphins just beat them. They just beat them. And you let that go? He's won the last 3 times he's coached against Belichick. And you let that go?
I'm telling you what it is. It'll come out that they just had a difference of opinion of what direction to go. And or his pull. He might have very well walked in there and said, hey, I can get this ship fully right, but I'm going to need a little bit more power in decision making. And they said, no, we prefer to do it this way. And they said, they agreed to part ways.
That's crazy because think about it. The last 2 years, he's had 2 winning seasons, and he had Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua as his quarterback.
Because literally that's what it comes that we've seen it happen before.
Yeah,
So it's not like it's never happened. It's happened, and it's happened publicly to the degree where a coach got hired and a day, 2 days later.
Oh, well, that's why Harbaugh and the 49ers split. It wasn't because of lack of results. It was because of what you're just talking about.
Parcells is the only one that we know of that because he openly said it. You want me to coach it? You want me to cook it? You got to at least let me buy the.
About when he was coaching Dallas? Yeah.
No, that was the Jets, wasn't it?
You know what? Yeah,
it was the Jets. They hired him, and then a day, 2 later, he was up out of there.
No, he coached the Jets. He coached the Jets to an AFC Championship game. That was Belichick in the Jets.
Was it Belichick?
It was Belichick in the Jets. Yeah.
But that's Parcells' quote about buying the groceries.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. That was not a Dallas thing.
Okay, but that was I know what you're talking about, but that wasn't Parcells in the Jets because Parcells coached him for 3 seasons. He just retired. But that was Belichick because they were gonna hire Belichick after Parcells. that's his guy. Because they didn't want Parcells to retire, so they wanted a coach from his coaching tree. And yeah, they wouldn't give him what he wanted, and literally the next day he was up out of there.
Right.
Yep. So, okay, so before we get to the picks again, who was your top 3 disappointments in the NFC and the AFC? Go AFC first.
Top 3 disappointments. I can't put the Ravens in that because the Ravens had a lot of injuries, so you can't be disappointed with an injured team. So I'm going to take the Browns as the number 1 choice overall in the league. Disappointment.
Yeah.
The Browns.
Now I'm just going AFC. What are 2 other AFC teams?
Well, Chargers and let me see, Chargers and damn.
I gotta spell it out for you. We just were talking about them.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Colts?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but no, because what expectations really based on what we had seen did we have for the Colts? Yeah, they make the playoffs. That's about it. Beyond that, they were unknown. Like, they were unknown. Jonathan Taylor was that factor was an unknown. What Wentz would do was an unknown. So I didn't really think that when the season started, the Colts were not on my radar at all.
Okay, well, if not the Colts, then for you, who? You said the Browns. You said the Chargers.
The Chargers. I gotta pick 3.
You don't have to.
Because every other team that were like I said, the Ravens would be the obvious one, but they had extenuating circumstances.
I agree with you. I agree with you with the Ravens.
You can't put them in there. And in terms of the rest of the teams in the AFC East, it was expected that the Dolphins would be decent, that the Patriots would be competitive, but then and the Bills. The Jets, nobody expect nothing from the Jets.
Okay, well, what about the NFC?
Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Every year it's the Vikings. And I'm gonna leave it at those 2. Simply because, again, what we're expecting from the Bears, really,
I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't expecting anything from the Bears, but I give the Saints the same pass, pretty much, that you gave the Ravens.
Right. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at those 2 because I can't. I didn't expect anything from any other team. I just didn't.
Well, for me, the AFC is number 3. I got to put the Colts. 2, I got to put the Chargers. 1, I got to put the Browns. I'm sorry. The fact that the Colts and the Chargers had it all laid out for them on a silver platter and couldn't get it done. I mean, you know what? I know that it's the coach's fault the Chargers didn't make it, but damn it, he's the coach of the team. And yeah, the Browns, clearly. I mean, I thought they would make no less than the AFC Championship game. To me, I think, yeah, they are the biggest disappointment in the league for me. As far as the NFC goes, I agree with you with the Seahawks. I agree with you with the Vikings. I'm giving the Saints a pass, but to me, personally, I think that I was definitely disappointed in the New York Giants because, remember, I picked the Giants to win the NFC East at the start of the season. So I definitely have to put the New York Giants as most disappointing. For the AFC, honorable mention will go to my Denver Broncos because I thought we would be a playoff team this year. I did.
Without a quarterback, though.
I understand that. Well, see, when Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, that pretty much was a wrap for us because we were right on the cusp of, we were right there. So, I mean, I could give us a pass, but that's been you said without a quarterback, that's been the story the last 5 years. When are you going to get it right? You know what I mean? That's literally been the story. That's been the story for us ever since we won Super Bowl 50 without a quarterback. You know, eventually you kind of need to address that. Honorable mention for me in the NFC. I don't even know if I have an honorable mention in the NFC. Because
you see how difficult it is to pick three.
Well, I picked three. I picked three for both. But I'm giving out. I said my three for the NFC was Vikings, Seahawks, Giants. You know, Vikings, Seahawks, Giants. I said for the AFC, Colts, Chargers, Browns. Honorable mention Broncos. Honorable mention for the NFC. That's kind of tough because I'm not going to say Washington because I never expected. Once they got Ryan Fitzpatrick, once they let Alex Smith go for Ryan Fitzpatrick, I ain't had no expectations of them. None. I'm trying to think down the stretch because you got three teams from the NFC West. I didn't expect anything from the Falcons. I damn sure didn't.
Honorable mention.
Who?
There's no honorable mention.
Yeah, because I didn't expect anything from the Lions or the Bears. Yeah, well, I just got three solids.
The team that's there that is not necessarily expected to be there is the Eagles. Every other team that's
I would put them as a surprise. Like my two biggest surprise teams, I would say easy, the Eagles and the Bengals. You know, one from the NFC, the Eagles, the AFC, the Bengals. Because you didn't expect nothing from either of those teams, and both of them, Bengals won the division, and the Eagles are in the playoffs.
And the funny thing is, I submit that maybe, just maybe, if they weren't diddling around early in the season trying to figure out what they were going to do in terms of Garoppolo and Trey Lance, the 49ers probably comfortably would have been in the playoff picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, all that matters to them is that they in. Right. Because this roster is, I mean, they didn't have much turnover from this roster from the team that went to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Buckner is in Indianapolis, but really, Buckner's in Indianapolis. Richard Sherman is in Tampa. But other than that, you know, everything.
Ain't nothing to do with Hill gone? I thought Solomon Hill was gone, ain't he? Where is he?
Oh, Solomon Hill? Where is he? That's a good question. I don't know. He might be gone, but you still got Warner, you still got Tart, you still got Bosa, you know, what's the other D lineman name? You'll get to know him on Sunday. I mean, on offense, you still got Debo, you still got Warner. I mean, you still got Debo, you still got Kittle. Ayuk has finally established himself. Jawan Johnson, so. They're going to be tough to deal with. And with that being said, let's go ahead and pick them things, homie. Round 1, wild card weekend. Oh, first game. Raiders at Bengals.
Bengals going to smack them up.
Yeah, I think the Bengals' long playoff drought is going to come to an end. And I don't know if you've ever heard me say this. The Bengals have had the curse of Bo Jackson on them ever since. 30 years. I mean, that was their last playoff win. 30 years ago. They ended Bo Jackson's career and have not won a playoff game since then. But I think they will ironically beat the Raiders to win. Patriots and Bills. That's a tough one, right?
It's a tough one, but I no one circles the wagons. I think Belichick will have a game plan, but I think that last matchup proved that overall the Bills are the superior team. Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And
all right, Tyson.
The Bills came back with that second matchup and showed that they are the superior team. I don't expect them to smack the Bills up like they did in that matchup, but I think a lot of the things they did, they were available in that first matchup. I just think that the weather conditions and mostly the weather conditions. You got Mac Jones only throwing the ball 3 times, and it was pouring rain. If it's you know,
wasn't even rain, it was just wind.
Yeah, I expect the Bills to win that game.
This game is personal. I honestly think this is going to be the most physical game of Wild Card Weekend because this is personal. And
you know who's going to win that game? Josh Allen with his legs.
You know, I will give the Bills credit for this. Over the last 2 weeks, they have tried to establish a running game with Singletary. I give them credit for that. But you may very well be right. But I'm going with New England, man. I'm going. Belichick's hold my beer season ain't over yet. I don't know why. You know, I say this every week. At least with one pick. I don't know why. I have no reason to. You're right. Buffalo is a superior team. But something in my gut is saying that the Patriots are going to manage to pull it out. Next game, Philly at Tampa.
Tampa should win that. But here's the big old but. In the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually rooting for Philly. But Tampa should win it. Injuries aside, all of that Tampa should win it.
I'm strictly going with my heart on this pick. I'm going with Philly. Going for the upset. I'm going with Philadelphia. I do. I really do. Tampa should win it. But like you said, that big old but. I'm going with Philly. 49ers and Cowboys. Think about all the nostalgia heads that are rolling this week with the 49ers playing the Cowboys in the playoffs. First time they played in the playoffs since the 1994 NFC Championship game. It's been too long. It's been too long.
So before I give my pick on this game,
I didn't know who you're going to pick, but go ahead.
But Mr. Kellen Moore, who is an enigma, and I wonder, there's been some rumbles that in certain games, because McCarthy gives him full autonomy with calling the offense, that he's experimenting with different things and held stuff back and yada, 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 because game to game, you don't necessarily see the same play call. And it's not even about the team, the defense. It's about him trying to figure out different formations that work and yada, yada, yada. So, that being said, I don't foresee us trying to just continually slam the ball up in that defensive front on first down. 49ers secondary is weak. I expect this to be one of them pass-happy, max protect pass-happy games. You got to get on top of them. Got to get on top of them 21-0 or whatever.
Well, the Rams got on top of them yesterday.
To make them, but the Rams went away from that. They went full on away from that, and for whatever reason, Cup and all them. I don't know what was going on with Stafford with the holding the ball thing, because they were clearly showing Cup was open underneath and blah blah blah. I guess they were looking for the big play. I don't know, but anyway, all that being said, I expect our front. Because Parsons will be back, I expect them to be able to get the Garoppolo, because they were getting the Jimmy G just a step too late, or Jimmy G was smart enough to dump that ball off. So it is what it is, but that's my pick. I think it'll be a good game, just in general, but I don't foresee the 49ers giving us that big a problem.
I said y'all be one and done. I've been saying that for the last 2.5-3 months, and I'm gonna stick to it.
The same thing. I already know you was gonna pick them.
You already knew. You already knew. I've been saying one and done for forever, and I said it's going to come to an NFC West team. Well, here we are. Here we are. I don't know what it is about Jimmy Garoppolo. You know what? Watch us end up getting Jimmy Garoppolo next year, and he continue his injury-prone career. But when he's on the football field, dude wins. And Debo ain't the only thing you got to worry about, homie. Like I just named the weapons for you. That's the scary part.
Thing to that the scary part is, again, you skip it over. The 49ers secondary is terrible. Who can they guard Cooper with? Who can they guard Lamb with?
Well, this is what we're going to find out.
Wilson but is going to run wild.
I'm on the record. One and done.
Now, the only person on their team that concerns me, because I figured they'll bracket Debo, but the only person, and they gotta tackle. We gotta tackle. We can't do that little shoulder nudge thing, because the Rams tried to do that. The Rams had so many passes that were completed that could have been dropped right there if they just tackle the man. Instead, they're playing tiddlywinks and bumping them instead of wrapping them
I'm
up.
gonna tell you this: the 49ers are gonna jump out to a 2-score lead because y'all gonna have a couple early turnovers. Watch.
Okay.
Watch.
I mean, that would be contradictory to typically what we do, but okay.
No, no. This is what that's what you.
And the funny thing is, you pick them to get the turnovers, but ignore the team that forces the most turnovers.
You've been saying that forever.
But we do. It's fact. Like,
okay, y'all are best. You know what? Y'all are best.
If you say what team forced the most turnovers in the league this year, it's the Cowboys.
But if I said,
why would you not think that we could force?
But
turnovers?
if I ask the question, which team got the most sacks? It ain't y'all. Y'all may pressure the quarterback the most, but y'all don't have the most sacks. That's LA.
Okay, but again, make it make sense to me then. If you're getting sacks, you should be getting turnovers.
All that's gonna make sense is that next Monday when we do this show,
getting sacks, you should be getting turnovers.
Not necessarily. Just because you get sacks doesn't mean that the quarterback has to fumble the ball.
Okay, but one thing's for certain, two things. You just said it. Just because you get sacks doesn't mean the quarterback has to fumble the ball. But the one thing that's a constant, and it's been this constant in NFL history, teams that get turnovers usually win the games. The teams that win the turnover battle win the games.
But what if the turnovers don't come?
See, there we go. What if the sacks don't come?
Okay, all right. Like I said, boy, I'll be so glad next Monday when y'all season be over.
Don't come, then guess what? Third down's getting converted, which means now you're getting perpetual sustaining drives. But okay.
I'll be so glad next week when y'all season is over. I'm gonna tell you I'm telling, but you will see.
But the funny thing is the funny thing, because you said that. You know I'm gonna grind you in the powder when we beat the 49ers.
Go ahead. And you said you know what you said that
because y'all hearing it now.
Okay.
We beat the 49ers. He'll move on to the next one. Y'all ain't gonna beat this team then.
And so what?
Even unto the Super Bowl.
And
then
did you just say y'all going to the Super Bowl?
And then when you go
say it again,
you won't beat that team.
Say it again. Did you say y'all going to the Super Bowl?
Just got lucky.
No.
That's how this story ends. They never give credit.
Y'all just heard him say. Y'all heard him say Super Bowl. Y'all heard him say Super Bowl and Cowboys in the same sentence.
What's crazy to me to the haters, they could play the exact same schedule that you play, but somehow your schedule is weaker because why?
To my listening audience, if you guys remember 2 weeks ago, he said he was going to come and eat me up. He said he was going to come and tear me to shreds. That was the words he used. And the week that they played the Cardinals, he was going to tear me to shreds. Boy. Like I said, and what happened when they played the Cardinals? What happens when we
played the Cardinals? It was a good game that the Cardinals
What happens when they play good teams? When they play good teams, they lose.
What happens when we play good teams?
Okay, so you'll see.
Same thing that happens with every other team that plays good teams. We play and then either we win or we lose, but we don't. But if you're trying to infer that we lose against good teams, that don't bear that out this season, brother. But carry on.
We lost
to a bad team, namely the Denver Broncos.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Hey, I don't disagree.
You can only play who's in front of you.
That is so true. And now you got the 49ers in front of you and your asses is going home. Anyway, next game. Well, you already be at home. Y'all just be able to stay there. Next game, Pittsburgh at Kansas City.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh in the upset.
Really? Really now? Okay.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think I'm going to take Pittsburgh in an upset. I think letting Big Ben in maybe was a mistake. Because I don't think Big Ben is going to try to throw for 500 yards and win the game on his arm. I think Najee Harris, that Pittsburgh should be able to move the ball.
I don't know what the extent of the injury, but he got hurt near the end of that Ravens game. Najee Harris.
That might make a difference, but if he's good to go, I think they can.
But you know what? I think he was in come overtime. I'm pretty sure he'll play. But okay, going with Pittsburgh. Okay. All right, I think Kansas City. I said earlier, I think Kansas City's gonna smoke Pittsburgh. I do. I don't doubt that Tomlin will have his team ready to play, but I think the fairy tale ends in Arrowhead. So okay. And the Monday night,
I don't think it's a fairy tale for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is playing with house money right now.
They are.
Big Ben is walking away from the game. They got nothing to lose, so he's gonna leave it all on the field. And those are the games that wow, we'll see.
But you know what I've noticed about Ben, and I mean honestly, I don't. You know, if the Steelers beat the Chiefs, I wouldn't care. I actually would think it would be quite funny. But Ben doesn't have control over his throws like he used to. Like, he's way more erratic with the ball now. I've noticed.
I said I don't think Ben is going to try to win that game with 500 yards. I think he'll take what the defense gives him. And if you're asking Ben to just be a really good bus driver, he can do that.
Okay. Well, we'll see. And the Monday Night Football game, divisional matchup, Arizona at Los Angeles.
The Rams.
I'm going with you on that one, but that's tough, man, because again, you talking about.
I will say this about those Rams though, and they need to tighten up on their defensive front.
Yeah, they do.
Because Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald, but they can be run on, and Kyler Murray is a righty. They can be run on.
This is why I say be careful, because not only that, the Cardinals, they were 7-1 on the road. This is the division game, so it's familiarity there. Not only are you getting Hopkins back, but you're going to be getting J.J. Watt back too. And J.J. Watt was thought to be lost for the season, but J.J. Watt has come out 2 days ago and said no, he will be there in the playoffs. Whether that hurts or whether that helps, we'll see. But I expect to see the Cardinals. They'll have all of their weapons back, and they have already won there in SoFi this season. So the reason why I'm picking the Rams is because Stafford, you better win. you better win. Because everybody has been saying, not me, I've actually gotten sick of hearing about it, is, well, he was 0-3 in the playoffs, but it was Detroit. And I've been saying that, so what? So what? So what if it's Detroit? If you're supposed to be that dude, you know, you find a way to win at least one of them games. If they lose, and ooh, I'm not saying they have to get to the Super Bowl, but I think they have to win this game.
Right.
They have to win this game. Because one thing they're going to point back to is all them turnovers, because you could have easily been facing the Eagles or the Saints. Well, I don't know if that would have been much better. Saints defense is real. But, you know, if you had taken care of business, you didn't have to have this matchup. Arizona could have easily been heading to Dallas, and y'all could have been at home waiting for New Orleans. So you better win. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Especially, and with this being Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury's playoff debut. Oh, Rams, right. You better win. You better win. So, what a season, huh?
Yeah.
Why does it have to end too quick? But I see you. Oh, quick question. Who you got national championship game tonight? Georgia or Alabama?
Georgia.
Me too.
Begrudgingly Georgia.
Me too. We agree there. But I see you, Mr. Number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference here there.
Yeah, we got smacked up in Dallas, but, you know, it was bound to happen at some point.
Y'all had won 9 straight before then, though, right?
Yeah, and when you got Levine and Vucevic combined shooting like 7 for 24, you know, yeah, you're going to get smacked up. But I'm encouraged. I say it every podcast, we need a power forward.
Well, Boogie is free.
Boogie is not a power forward.
But still.
He is a backup center at best. And we may very well take a look at him, but we need a legitimate power forward. Not a superstar power forward, not even an all-star. Just one that plays his role, can make shots when he's called upon, and can defend. And is actually taller than 6'5". I don't understand Donovan's fascination with these 6'4", 6'5" dudes playing these 4-guard rotations and expecting, you know, Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. and sometimes Lonzo to defend power forwards on a consistent basis. Rebounds, you got to get the ball, son. So you need that 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", energizer money dude that can contest shots and get rebounds, get putbacks, and give you 10 points here or there. That's all you need. Or maybe even stretch the floor at the 4.
I've heard some smuttering about Demar Derozan for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar is nice. We already had that coming. We know what DeMar Derozan is. He's nice. MVP, what does it mean? Most valuable player. It depends on where the Bulls finish. If the Bulls finish with that top record in the East, 1, 2, 3, yeah, you might very well consider him for MVP. You don't have to win the championship to be MVP.
No, it's a regular season
the
award.
turnaround is huge. The same reason Steve Nash won MVP, whether you feel like he deserved it or not. It's about turnaround. It's about turnaround. You go from one record and you get a 28-game turnaround, then you deserve MVP.
Well, I never had a beef with Steve Nash's MVPs. I thought you could have easily gave one to Shaq. I would sit here and say the biggest MVP beef I've probably ever had was 2002 when they gave it to Tim Duncan and the Jason Kidd, that was his first year as a Net, and the Nets, like, they had that type of turnaround. 28-game turnaround where they ended up going to the finals. That's really the one beef that I had with that. But, so, okay, let me ask you. So what did you think? Klay Thompson returns last night. What did you think?
I have no opinion.
Kyrie Irving's game. What'd you think?
How
about Lance Stevenson?
Well, what do I think as a whole? I mean, about the game, or what do I think about his return, period?
Well, the game. The game.
I mean, he's been sitting around, perhaps working out in his own little personal gym. I mean, the game is the game. And some dudes will be rusty. Some dudes, they just know how to play basketball. So there was no doubt that, Kyrie Irving could come back and contribute immediately. But I just think this back and forth, he can play here, but he can't play there. He can play there, but he can't play here. You already know my position about COVID. And the league should have mandated everybody be vaccinated, or you're just not playing basketball. And then none of this would be a discussion. Bradley Beal finally did the right thing, and so there's no more discussion about it.
How about Lance Stevenson, though?
Again, he's been out of the league, but he's not been not playing basketball.
Make him dance, Lance.
Yeah, and if you're letting him, have the ball as much as Indiana's letting him have, he just ought to be able to, contribute. Hell, by that standard, I would not be surprised if a Steven Jackson could step in the league today.
Oh my God! Well, they brought Joe Johnson back, and honestly, that's why I haven't kept up with the NBA. I know I usually don't fully go all in on the NBA until football, but because of COVID, the NBA has been such a shit show.
Right.
Like, it really has. The NBA has really been a shit show for the first half of the season, because we're bringing Joe Johnson out of retirement. We're bringing Mario Chalmers out of retirement. We're bringing Lance Stevenson from China. So it's been like.
How about the Ersan Ilyasova sighting? We signed him, right? Never played a game because immediately after he got signed, he tested positive for COVID. So he never played a game.
and y'all released him.
Yep.
Damn. This year the league has been just a bunch of 10-day contracts, hardship deals and whatnot. Like, I didn't understand for the life of me why the Bucks would release DeMarcus Cousins, especially when he had been contributing on a very good level for them. But, I mean, it is what it is. That's why, it's hard for me to truly get invested when lineups are changing all the time. I was happy to see Klay Thompson back. Haven't seen him play in 2.5 years.
So here's the thing about Golden State, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Golden State bandwagon jumper, because let's face it, unless you from that region, you ain't really a Golden State fan. Like you might have been a Tim Hardaway fan at some point, but you're not a Golden State fan. At age 46, you're not. Maybe 25 or 30, but not at age 46.
Well, I mean, if he gave you, you know, the history of Run TMC, I don't doubt it.
Didn't. He's a bandwagon jumper. That's what I'm telling you. He's a bandwagon jumper. Back in the day, he was riding with anybody that was basically against the Bulls. Anybody.
I got you. Okay.
So,
I got you.
Right.
I got you.
And so that wasn't Golden State. You know, at that time.
Nah. Golden State would barely make the playoffs.
Right. So that being said, but he's a Golden State bandwagon jumper, and our team is stacked out. Yeah, I'm like, you made some good pickups in the draft, dudes that, you know, like Poole that have merged and even taking a chance on Wiggins and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why Golden State as a franchise, if they're viewed as this successful, you know, organization, is because they're willing to pay out the ass into the luxury tax.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All the teams, bigger market teams, could do that if they really wanted to. The Bulls, the Knicks, the Lakers, everybody could overpay and pay that repeater tax every single year and field monster teams.
Well, that's what broke up the young Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, they didn't want to go on the luxury tax to pay James Harden, and that's why he walked.
Yep. And that's what Golden State is and has been. They've been paying a luxury tax out the wazoo, like to the degree where, are y'all even worried about the bottom line? Or y'all just worried about, you know, fielding a successful team? You're not worried about the bottom line dollar, because they can't be from a business standpoint. You know, having dudes that you paying basically 3 times, you know, because you got to pay them, then you got to pay the league twice. Because what is it, 3 times? It's 3 times for every dollar, which goes back to AK-47 in
Utah.
Jersey. And no, when he signed with the Nets.
Oh, okay.
Remember when they signed him with Nets with Jay-Z and
Karolinko,
Karolinko, and they ultimately they signed him for that 1 year, but they was paying him like he wasn't getting. I mean, he wasn't getting significant money, but they were paying like 20-something million for him just because of the repeater tax. But anyway, all that's neither here nor there. I just think. In the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, we need a power forward. COVID has messed up the league, but at the same time, a lot of these 10-day dudes, just in general, kind of prove the fact that they're signed, and so on some level, some of them contributing shows the talent gap from top to bottom in the league. You got the top tier guys, you got a few guys that are kind of in the middle, but that bottom tier dudes that people view as contributors and yada yada yada. Most of them is just bench warmers. Most of them are. Just to have somebody in that roster, maybe play 5 minutes. But you got all these dudes that's playing in the N1 league. And the Big Three and this, that, and the other. But they could have stayed in the NBA for that matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the notable names in the Big Three, they're I don't think they would necessarily make it as far as stamina wise goes. I mean, I know Amari Stoudemire said he was trying to come back to the NBA after going to the Big Three, but you know, nobody ever picked him up. Joe Johnson did get picked up. He got picked up last year, actually.
Man, you ain't got to play for 10 minutes, bro. You telling me these dudes can't
that's true.
If Carmelo can play like 25, 30 minutes, they can play 10 minutes.
Well, I don't think nobody's signing Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
But see, that's the crazy thing. Why not? Just as a shooter.
Because he's 55 years old. That's why.
Sign him as a shooter. We playing in today's NBA where dudes come out on court and run to the corner.
That's
and
true.
Just stand there.
That's true. and his jumper is wet.
That's all they do. They run to the corner and stand there. And I saw it again last night in the Dallas game. And I'm like, are you serious? 3-on-1 fast break. You got one defender back,
that makes me so mad.
And you kick it out to the corner.
God, that makes me mad, yo, when I see that. It really does. gosh, that
I'm not mad
makes
at
me
the ball
mad.
handler. I'm not mad at Zach LaVine because he kicked it out to the corner. I'm mad because the dudes in the corner were not running with him to the basket. It's 3-on-1. Why
Exactly.
are you immediately running to the 3-point line instead of running to cut to the basket so he could just throw a lob up or anything to you?
That's today's NBA. That's today's NBA. Now, before we go, I want to quickly switch subjects. Antonio Brown. Did you hear the podcast?
I did not hear the podcast, but I think that I'm up on pretty much everything involving him. Something dropped on the podcast that I didn't know about.
Well, I mean, pretty much what he said was
that he was hurt. He's saying that he was hurt. That they knew he was hurt.
Yeah.
The Tampa trainers, everybody knew he was hurt, and
yeah.
He said as much, and they told him to go into the game anyway.
So if what he's saying is true, and he also says some things about Brady, which has really pissed everybody off because he said if you're really my boy, why am I on a prove it deal? He said, Gronk's your boy, right? He ain't on a prove it deal. He's like, why is AB on a prove it deal? But you my boy though, right? You my boy.
No, I can't go with him on that because you and Gronk are two different kinds of men outside of the sport. The fact that you have a job, that was him being your boy. The fact that he got you on a team, it's on you to maintain that status, Mr. Brown, and get you a new contract.
Well, I don't agree with him as far as a prove a deal because of his track record. I mean, he could have what he did in Oakland and what he did in New England. He could have had $30 million in his bank account if he'd have just shut up for 2 days and blew it. So, his actions is why he was on a prove a deal. But if everything he said is true, as far as he knew the Tampa Bay knew he was hurt, he said he couldn't go in. Arians says, then get out of here, gives him a throat slash. If everything Antonio Brown is saying is true, and he's showing proof now, he is showing proof.
I get that. He's showing proof.
So if it's true, what do you think?
I still side with the Buccaneers. Why? If you're that hurt, why are you even suited up on game day as if you can play? It's that simple. Why you got your pads on? Why do you have all that on? If you could not go, you be standing on the sidelines or sitting on the sidelines with a hoodie on, and maybe helping out your teammates or something. That's what you would have done because that's what everybody else does. Either that or they just stay home. They don't suit up. They don't put on the pads and the cleats and come stand on the sidelines as if they're ready to go.
Well, okay, well.
There's no defense of that.
Well,
if you cannot play, and you know you're hurt, and you can, it's been voiced to the trainers, been voiced to the team. They said what they said to you.
But how many times have you seen a football game where you knew a player was banged up, but he said, I'm going to try to give it a go? Let me give you an example. LaDainian
Was that the case with Mr. Brown, though?
Okay,
I know what you're talking about, where a guy comes out there, gives it a go. Zeke did that. Came out, gave it a go on the knee, couldn't go. Bam, Pollard finished the game.
Right.
And he went out in the first quarter.
Right.
Is that the case with Mr. Brown, though? It is not. It is not the case with him. Hence the fact that after you put on your display, after you went cut, you went to the end zone and did jumping jacks to prove your fitness.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say this. If what he's saying is true, then it's a bad look for everybody. Because at the end of the day, if he couldn't go, like I said, there have been several players who played in the game knowing they were hurt. Like you said, Zeke did it. And, the coach is not going to tell them you're done. So to me, that sounded more personal. And it's just like, I mean, if you really didn't want him there, then they should have cut him after the fake vaccination card thing.
Yeah, but I go back to what I said, Mr. Brown. If you cannot go, if you personally feel like you cannot go, I get the scenario that you laid out, but that does not appear to be the case in this situation. Why suit up as if you are going to go?
Did you see the text message that he posted between him and Bruce Arians? That
Maybe.
he posted a text message, where Bruce Arians texted him, and then he texted Bruce Arians back saying, alerting him of the injury, but that he was still going to give it a go, and everything was all good. But see, where Bruce Arians looks bad is when he comes in the press conference and says, "I wasn't aware there was an injury." Well, you lying. I mean, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not refuting anything that you're saying about Antonio Brown, but it looks bad on Bruce Arians because one, you click. How did you the head coach and you didn't know that he had an issue with his ankle? I knew he had an issue with his ankle. Fantasy football knew he had an issue with the ankle. So you got caught in a lie, for one. Two, again, if you didn't really want him on your team, then you should have cut him after the fake vaccination thing. The reason why you kept him on there is because you felt you needed him, especially after Godwin went down with a torn ACL. But it's like, it just sounds more personal to me if you're saying that, hey, coach, I can't go in. No, get in the game. Coach, I'm hurt. I can't, my ankle. Oh, you're gone. Get out of here. Basically cutting him during the course of the game. I'm not condoning what Antonio Brown did, especially the way that he left. There's a way to handle everything, and that definitely wasn't it. And if your ankle's hurt, you're doing jumping jacks doesn't make it look any better, even though doing little jumping jacks is totally different between running full speed, stopping, cutting, and all of that stuff that would require.
My diagnosis of that whole scenario, really, I think it was, like you said, culpability on both parts.
Yeah. And
I think at the end of the day, once he suited up and came there on them sidelines, if he wasn't limping, like walking around, needed crutches or anything like that, couldn't walk on his own power, I think they just wanted him to go in there and be a decoy.
Probably, yeah. That sounds about right. The threat of him, yeah.
Just go out there, even if you can't. Again, I use my team. They did that with Amari Cooper early in the season. He clearly was not recovered from COVID, but they had him go out there anyway and just act like he was going to play football.
Okay.
So somebody had to cover. They still had to respect the fact that he was on the field. So,
Just wanted to get your opinion on that, but hey man, it's playoff.
The extra stuff afterwards, Antonio Brown shouldn't have did that. He
shouldn't have did that.
What he said and put it out there that he, but at the end of the day, all the extra and the showboating is what made it seem disingenuous. And especially the jumping jacks. You're not hurt if you're doing jumping jacks. Anybody gonna say that?
I don't think he should have handled it. I don't think he should have handled it that way. I really don't.
Jogged off the field, so you couldn't jog on the field.
I don't think he should have handled it that way, but I think it looks bad on both parts. I do. I think it looks bad on both parts, but at the same time, you knew what you were signing up for as far as the Buccaneers are concerned. You knew how temperamental this dude could possibly get. So I don't feel sorry for nobody in this situation. I don't. I really don't feel sorry for anybody in that specific situation because you knew what you were getting with Antonio Brown. Whether Antonio Brown gets another shot in the league, if I was a friend of his, I would simply tell him, kind of be quiet now, because now everybody's going in at him because of the comments made about Tom Brady. So, and that's the golden boy right there. So I would tell AB to shut the hell up.
AB will get back into the league, but it'll be an incentive-laden contract with that.
You do know y'all were looking at him right before they would. That's one reason why Tampa Bay didn't outright release him.
We were not looking at him. Every player, let me say this, every player, former star player is linked to Dallas somehow.
Well, it wasn't just Dallas. They said
we were never looking at
they said
Brown.
They said that the Buccaneers did not outright, like when they said they cut him, that they hadn't officially cut him because they said Kansas City,
Arizona was looking.
They said
Antonio Brown.
They said Arizona was one of them. They said Kansas City, Arizona, and Dallas.
Let me repeat. We, as a franchise, headed by Jerry Jones, were never Jerry Jones. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't put that past Jerry Jones.
They asked Jerry Jones about it, and he said, at this time, we are not pursuing avenues to acquire Antonio. He said it early on, but yet still, Bleacher Report. No, I saw the articles. They put it out there anyway. Yeah, but no official source, not even Ed Werder, On ESPN.
Well, if he, I mean, honestly, it would be. I mean, he would be made to look like a liar if he had to sign with another team because of him claiming the injury. So either way, but I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
What? Because Gallup went down? No,
no. Because I mean, Cedric Wilson.
That's why the media seized on that.
Oh yeah, well
Gallup went down. If Gallup didn't go down, you still would have seen Antonio Brown lick it out. For what? For what? Man, we got enough wide receiver issues. The dudes that we got can barely get enough balls. It's crazy. I mean, like quietly, they can barely get enough balls. It is what it is.
Well, all right. Well, look, it's playoff time. We will definitely be in touch. I'm about to fix these kids something to eat because weather has finally turned back to normal. So. But, bro, try to check out some of that national championship game, if you will. It'll be on. I don't know how much I'll be paying attention to it.
Man, I'm gonna watch the box score and probably watch Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
That's how much I really care about the game, the actual game.
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent about college. I told you that about college football.
Yeah, I know. So, but I will definitely holler at you, bro.
All right. Till next time.
All right. Yes, sir. Till next time. Oh, my man Tony. I'm telling you, he go with me tooth and nail when I talk about them sorry-ass Cowboys. But quickly, yes, the national championship game is tonight, Georgia and Alabama. Yes, I'm rooting for Georgia. That's one reason why I don't discuss college football as much as I do, because it's the same old rinse and repeat. Now, when March Madness comes around here, oh, trust me, I'm all in, even though ain't looking that great for my Cavaliers. But we got to see what VCU and Virginia Tech is doing. But, yeah, I'm rooting for the Bulldogs. They haven't won a title since 1980. And let's get some new blood up in there. Let's see something new. Alabama has won 6 titles in the last 12 years. Let's get something new. Between Alabama and Clemson, let's get something new. So with that being said, with a buzzer. Oh, man, such a busy day yesterday in sports, particularly football. Again, we have the national championship game tonight in just a couple of hours. By the time this posts up to YouTube, it'll probably post in the wee hours of the night. The national championship game will be over. People will be asleep unless you work the night shift. But anyway, I hope everybody is doing good. I hope everybody is having a wonderful beginning to their 2022. And, it's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. Definitely hit the subscription button. Become part of the Sports Plus Life family. Once again, special shout-outs go to my Black and Gold fam. I love you guys. And we're going to have definitely some new things to talk about in the coming episodes. But again, it's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. This here's another episode of Sports Plus Life. I'm out this beer. Peace. I love y'all.